20s are for spending hours and hours pretending we have plans and we have places we should visit, but everybody knows your 20s are for wasting time. 'Cause you could be with anyone you wanted, you could take that job they offered and move down by the ocean.
Several years ago, we became an accredited land trust, and as such, we are tasked with maintaining properties either on our own or holding a conservation easement for interested parties, such as farmers or businessmen who want to maintain the value in their holdings, but they also want to preserve it for posterity and use it not necessarily as public lands, but as land that is preserved in perpetuity for the public good.
This world makes me dizzy, how we get so busy. No one tries to take the time it takes to turn your love into a love, your friends into a family.
In support of our mission to protect important habitat, we've acquired 3 properties, 2 in Baldwin County and 1 in Mobile County, with the intention of restoring them back to their natural habitat and opening them up for public use.
The Rangeline property is about 75 acres and it's located in South Mobile County, and it is a fire-suppressed pine savanna primarily. It's been neglected for years, but we're going to restore fire there. It's dominated by pine trees, but in the understory we have a great diversity of herbaceous plants, pitcher plants, orchids, all kinds of really beautiful wildflowers and grasses and sedges. And then we have a stream channel over on the east side that is a tributary to the Deer River. The Alta Fish River property is about 60 acres, I believe, and it's located on the west side of Fish River in Fairhope. It's a beautiful piece of property. It's mixed pine, hardwoods, and ferns, and several ponds scattered around. With management, it's only going to get better. There's trails all through it that are already established and being maintained, so it's a really cool piece of property. The Rio Vista property is about 25 acres and it's located on the west side of Fish River in Fairhope. It is pretty open for the most part because of timber harvesting that was done prior to the South Alabama Land Trust acquiring the property. Steel Branch is a beautiful little perennial tributary to Fish River that's also partially on the property. There are beautiful big Atlantic white cedars down by the river, and wetlands, and lots of beautiful plants and ferns and lots of nice stuff.
Well, my name is Deanna Shannon and I work for Gulf Corps. I am here at Rangeline. We are removing invasive smilax vines and we're using herbicide to do so, and we also are pulling tallow trees, also known as popcorn trees.
I really love nature, and being able to impact a place like this that is open to the public or will be open to the public seemed really important to me, because being able to educate people in a sense of nature is very important. So this is not my first time out here. I was here a few months prior, and we planted 1,000-something longleaf pine trees. And being able to come back here today and see the growth that they've already had is really incredible, because being able to return here in later years when it's open to the public and seeing the growth that I've been able to put into this property is going to be really cool.
I guess that I've always been a conservationist. I remember as a child going to wildlife preserves and camping in the wilderness, and my father was the founder of the environmental law curriculum at Auburn. So I grew up with a need, a love, and a passion for the outdoors. I moved to Turkey Branch on Fish River about 28 years ago, and have been a member of the Weeks Bay Foundation, now the South Alabama Land Trust, for 25 of those years. I've seen this organization grow from just a very few members and a couple or three board members to now an accredited land trust with over 9,500 acres of protected property. I think that organizations like the South Alabama Land Trust, whose mission is to preserve the quality of this land, because we know by doing that we preserve the quality of the water, is vital to the growth of this community.
The other thing is we need some buffer zones to keep all of that stuff from running into the delta, because right now the delta is like a giant kidney. It's absorbing all that, and especially the nitrogen and phosphorus, because the vegetation in the delta is utilizing the nitrogen and phosphorus because it's a fertilizer. So it's using it up because we got so much vegetation up in the delta. So that's solving a lot of the problem, but we don't want to give it more than it can handle. It's like a sponge. I mean, you fill the sponge and it gets saturated and it can't handle it all. And when that runs into Mobile Bay and takes too much nitrogen and phosphorus, then you start having these algae blooms, which takes the oxygen out of the water. And we have fish kills, and it also, you know, a jubilee is low dissolved oxygen, but nothing dies in the jubilee. But when we have an algae bloom, the algae not only takes that oxygen out of the water, but it gets on the fish's gills and they can't breathe. So fish die in an algae bloom, and I've never seen anything die in a jubilee unless somebody gigged it or caught it or whatever.
So surrounding us is a phenomenal estuary, and that estuary is made up of a system of wetlands. And those wetlands are the nursery for the marine invertebrates that are the basis of the seafood industry. Maintaining these wetlands is vital for the health of the marine invertebrates, but also a significant impact on the industry that thrives in this market.
We live in a uniquely wonderful place surrounded by fresh water, brackish water, and salt water. And getting out on the land is just good for the soul and a great way for families to learn and enjoy and discover the outdoors, especially young children. So with me having my own young children, I think it's important, and it was a great part of my childhood, and I want my kids to have the same experiences.
South Alabama Land Trust is a nonprofit, nationally accredited land trust that over the past 30 years has protected more than 9,500 acres of habitat in Mobile and Baldwin counties. And these are areas that are very important to the people who work and live in coastal Alabama, as well as to the hundreds of thousands of people who stimulate our economy. Without land conservation, we would see drastic changes not only to our lifestyles, but to our landscapes in many ways. All of the properties that South Alabama Land Trust protects are conserved and preserved for their natural beauty and will remain forever wild.
Hand feels when it's under mine. I don't want to take the world for granted while I'm still trying to understand it. The more I live, I am convinced everyone just wants to be in love. be in love.